we'll start with the main event. Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili. Dvalishvili coming in at plus 235. Petr Yan minus 235. Over-under set at 4.5 rounds, minus 202 for the over, plus 202 for the under. As always, odds are courtesy of BetOpenly, the best fight odds out there. The link for that site will be in the description as well. Bantamweight bout here. I think there's 5 fights in the bantamweight division on this card. So a lot of bantamweight action, very deep division, but these guys are towards the top. Petr Yan 16-4, 2-3 in his last 5 though, which is very crazy to think about. Dvalishvili on a run here, 15-4, 5-0 in his last 5. It's a big fight for Merab here. I would say a big test because Petr Yan has some of the best takedown defense in the entire UFC, 90% in his career. Obviously, very strong dude, very great on the feet. Merab wants to get it to the ground. What are you thinking on this fight?
Dude, it's so, I don't know. Like when you see Merab Dvalishvili at plus 235, it makes you want to hammer. But then you look at the stylistic matchup with Petr Yan. Yan can grapple too, and he's super, he's got a really balanced base, and he's harder to take down. And he's a strong guy. He's shorter, kind of like Merab as well. But the thing that gets me about not wanting to go and hammer Merab as an underdog is because if you look at his record, he beat Jose Aldo. Obviously, Jose Aldo's retired now. It's a retirement fight, and Jose is nowhere near the old Jose we used to see. Then he beat Marlon Moraes, who's been knocked out like 5 times in a row now. And then he beat Cody Stamann, which Cody's a good fighter. Before that, John Dobson, Gustavo Lopez. So it's not like Merab has been in there with a bunch of killers recently or a bunch of guys who are fighting at the highest level and in their prime. So I'm interested to see what happens when he steps in there with Petr Yan because at the end of the day, Yan can kind of do it all. I know he's kind of on this little downward trend, but he lost to Aljo. We know Aljo is extremely good, and he's a great grappler, and a submission game is really slick. But Merab's a different style of grappler. He's more of a chain wrestler. He's going to hang on for dear life and beat you with control time. He is powerful on the feet, but he's not very technical. And against Petr Yan, I think you have to be technical if you want to hang with him on the feet if you're Merab. So the name of the game is going to be, can Merab get it to the ground? Can he keep that pressure up against the fence? And if he can't, I think he's going to get picked apart by Yan because Yan's fast and he hits hard, and those kicks are something else. So I am going to be interested to see if Merab, starts trying to catch that kick, that body kick Petr Yan throws. And if he does, it's going to open up that head kick. So all signs do point towards Petr Yan having the advantage here. I am going to lean Petr Yan for my pick. But, man, I think the odds could be a tad closer than they actually are. I mean, that's minus 235 for Petr Yan is a little wide at this point right now, if I'm being honest. But overall, I do think Yan should get the win. Could get interesting, though, for a couple rounds.
Yeah, they call Merab the machine because he puts that crazy pace on you. This is his first 5-round fight, so I'm interested to see how he comes out, if he comes out any differently. But we know Petr Yan's good for 5, and he's usually a slower starter, wants to get his reads on the feet, and speeds up as the fight goes on. He's great in those later rounds, putting the pace on you. Like you said, Aljo has technically beaten Petr Yan twice. One was the DQ, and then in the rematch, Aljo won the split decision. So Aljo and Merab being teammates, you may say, well, they got the blueprint on how to beat him. But Aljo and Merab are very different fighters. Both are wrestlers, both want to get it to the ground, but very in different ways. Aljo wants to get it to the ground, and he wants to get your back. He wants to control you on the ground, use his strength. Whereas Merab, like you said, chain wrestler, uses a lot of big movements to get his takedowns. He gets the body lock, goes for slams, picks you up, throws you down. He'll just keep repeating that, try to wear you down. Whereas Aljo, both guys shoot takedowns like their life depends on it. Like they don't have great takedown accuracy. But if they get it there, Aljo is one of the best at keeping it there. That's the big thing that I'm going to take away from this is Merab doesn't have that ground control that Aljo does. And we saw it in the second fight where Aljo would get the back and he would have the back for the rest of the rounds. If Merab can get Petr Yan to the ground, I don't see him being able to control him on the ground. And I don't see him being able to take him down at will. We saw in the last fight, Merab against Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, historic takedown defense as well. Merab went 0 for 16. So he had to resort to just holding him up against the fence and kind of just holding on for dear life. And for 5 rounds of that, I don't like that kind of game plan going into this one. Petr Yan is world class. A lot of people think he's still the best bantamweight out there. I mean, it's tough to say that based on his last few performances. Maybe it's just an IQ issue, like a fight IQ issue, which is also it's hard to like knock his fight IQ because he makes such great reads as far as, you know, in the striking, in the takedowns, as far as like reactionary. But as far as winning rounds, maybe an argument as far as is the fight IQ there. I mean, he's lost back-to-back split decisions, both of them pretty controversial. But in reality, he did get the loss. So, I mean, that's tough. Tough to lay that kind of chalk on a guy that's been losing split decisions. I personally think he gets it done. Minus 235. I think it's probably pretty fair because he's a lot better on the feet and he has that great takedown defense. If Merab's going to do this, like, he's going to have to take those first 2 at least. You know, he's going to have those first 2 rounds. Honestly, you might be better off playing it live after round 1, after round 2. If you like Petr Yan, you'll probably get a better price because Merab tends to come out pretty hard and push that pace on you. Very successful in the first couple of rounds. But yeah, I mean, plus money, that kind of plus money on Merab for the way he's looked as of recently, it's hard not to take a bite on it. But you may be getting a better price on Petr Yan because he's 2-3 in his last 5. So there's always that recency bias that's usually factored into the price a little bit. So, I mean, let's think about this. If he beats Sean O'Malley, if he edges a Sean O'Malley decision there, and he gets this fight against Merab, he's probably minus 300, minus 400. He might be around there at the end of the week. I mean, he's been moving up pretty heavily as the days have gone by. I saw he opened at like minus 175, so minus 235. That's a pretty solid jump in about a week or so. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Petr Yan for the pick. You got anything else on this one?
Just that, you know, when you do look at strength of schedules and stuff, this is by far, and it will be, Merab's hardest fight to date. And on Petr Yan's side, like, he doesn't have to worry about, you know, a long, lengthy striker standing across from him. So I think, you know, if he can stuff takedowns and just, you know, get the fight separated, not in the clinch, I think Petr Yan's going to do a lot of work. And he's going to do some damage to Merab. And it's 5 rounds. So, I mean, how long can Merab really keep all that wrestling up and that chain wrestling up? There are going to be times when they're, you know, at range and Petr Yan is sniping. So, yeah, man, the more I think about it, definitely Petr Yan. Man, I wish I would have hammered it when it came out at under minus 200 because it's just going to keep creeping up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw minus 175, and then a couple days later, he's like minus 210, minus 220. I'm like, yeah, that seems about right. It seems like the right direction for it.